Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Mobile County Commission Conference in preparation for our February 9th regular meeting. Do we have any speakers?
Yes, ma'am. Judge Mark Irwin is here to address the commission about matters related to the upcoming election.
Good morning. I have not had the opportunity to be in the revamped, let's see here. I appreciate a few minutes to come and talk to you this morning. And I know we have several items on the agenda for Monday, and so I thought this might be a good time to come and discuss a little bit of our preparations for the 2026 election cycle. It's fast approaching. And a couple of the items on here that are really critical to that. One is the assortment of our poll workers that we distribute throughout the county. That's what you're going to be looking at today is on Monday. I want you to know that we have done a revamp of our distribution of poll workers, trying to determine in some locations based on history, have we been a little bit overstaffed, a little understaffed in some locations, reallocate some of those numbers. There is a net reduction in the number of total poll workers that we'll be utilizing, which is a savings to the county, but we feel like is a better distribution of those resources around the county based on our historical information for turnout. So that's one thing I would like to bring up. The other thing is coming out of the municipal elections. Everyone's probably remembering the issues that occurred on the runoff day where we began to get reports very early about voters being labeled inactive and having difficulty, with their process of voting in the runoff election for mayor. Obviously, that process was completely outside of our supervision, but I figured very quickly that ultimately, whether it was my responsibility or not, I was about to get blamed for all of this. So I needed to make sure I got in it and attempted to untangle whatever the web was. And so we went through a lot, investigation with that to try to determine what was going on. And there's a lot we could discuss. It'd take a lot longer than we have today to do that. But the Motor Voter Registration Act audit that the state is required to do every 4 years that took place in the spring of 25, set the stage for the issue that occurred in the city's election, where people who had not moved, had voted in recent elections, suddenly showed up at a poll and they were labeled as inactive. That switch, God bless you, that switch had occurred in late June of 25 when the Secretary of State completed that whole process and finally hit the button that shifted some registrations to inactive. That exposed itself in August or in September when the city had their runoff. I know, based on the numbers that we know for Mobile County in total, a lot of people would not have been participating in the city's election who are going to be participating probably for the first time in May are probably going to find that same situation with their own registration. It's just a matter of percentages, really. We're going to see it. What I would like us to do, and we've been working with Ms. Broussard and trying to develop a pretty robust public relations campaign between now and May to encourage people to check their registration and correct that, re-identify, reconfirm their registration to become active before May 19th. And part of that is on the agenda today is this is kind of one of these real, young people kind of play words, Rumble Up. I don't even want to talk about how they came up with this name, but it's a vendor that is basically a person-to-person text program where we can send direct messages to targeted information that we have for voters and try to communicate directly with them as possible about the need to check your registration. Make sure you've updated, and if you need to. And so that's what's on one of the things that's on the agenda today is the contract to for this vendor for us to utilize this person-to-person text process to try to directly contact voters. And we want to do that, and we want to do it with more ways. We want to use our social media platforms. We're going to do a media, appearance, a media interview, blitz, and try to get the word out that the best way to avoid the headache of finding out you're inactive on election day is to find out you're inactive before election day. And we want to encourage people to do that as best we can. And so any ideas that any of you have, or places or people that we need to get that message out to, we want to be working on that over the next several weeks as we lead up to May. Because I know that there were a total of 37,000 voters in Mobile County who were impacted by the Motor Voter Registration Act audit. 22,000 within the city limits of Mobile, but a total of 37,000 for the whole county. And there's a lot of reasons why that audit may have flagged those files for moving to inactive. And many of those reasons, or some of those reasons, did not involve moving or not voting. They could involve other things the audit flagged, and if the voter did not respond affirmatively when contacted by the Secretary of State's office, then they automatically got moved to inactive. So there's a percentage of people out there, that little bomb's waiting for us on May 19th, and I'd like to try to diffuse it as much as possible before we get there.
Did they have to vote provisionally?
No. I would like to make that very clear too, and this would be part of our public relations campaign. If you are a regular voter, you are registered in that precinct and have not moved, and you show up on election day and they tell you at the registration table you appear to be inactive, you do not have to vote a provisional ballot. All you have to do is do the re-identification form, which we call the short form, and you do the short form, and they will then issue you a ballot certificate to go get your ballot and vote a regular ballot. And that was part of the confusion on the city's election day, was they did not have that process programmed into their system to allow the override, to allow the voter to vote a regular ballot. So everyone was being forced into the provisional process, which is not necessary. And so we want to make sure we're talking about that. Inactive does not mean provisional. Inactive means you just have to re-identify, reconfirm your registration is there in that precinct. If you do, you get a regular ballot. And so we need to make sure we're getting the word out on that.
And
Yes, ma'am.
are poll workers being trained that that is what they should do without people having to try to figure out themselves to tell them you're inactive, this is what you need to do? and
Yes,
give them
so
a form?
our process, just for everyone's edification, is the person at the front table, all they will know is the database says inactive. That ends their relationship with you as a voter, okay? They have no more information for you. You are then sent over to the leader of the poll, the chief clerk or the inspector, either one can help you. They will confirm what the database says. They have the form, the re-identification form that you fill out. Then they can do the override. They have authority to do the override and issue you your ballot slip and allow you to get your regular ballot. And then the re-identification material is then provided back to the board of registrars to do the update after the election. And so I'd rather avoid the manual process of doing that. All they have to do is anytime up before the election, 14 days before the election, is go online with the Secretary of State's office and do your own update so that the active status is clear on election day.
Do you have any idea what the percentage was of voters that were declared inactive in that process?
Well, whatever 37,000 Mobile County is out of right at 300,000 registered voters, so whatever percentage that ends up being, I haven't run that number. But, county, statewide, I'm told that it was north of 200,000 voter files were moved to inactive as part of the motor voter registration audit. And let me hasten to say that the motor voter registration audit process is a creature of federal law that each state has to go through every 4 years. And so it's not like somebody chose to do that all of a sudden. It's a process that federal legislation requires that we do. And the Secretary of State just followed their normal process. You send in something in the audit, they run our database against a number of similar databases to confirm people's addresses. And if those databases come back with a mismatch on address, then it flags that voter as a potential move. And frankly, as an example, if you live here in Mobile, have lived here forever, but you bought a house at Orange Beach, or you bought a property at the lake outside of Mobile County, that might flag against your current address in that audit process that says, look, there's two different addresses here. So that puts a red flag on that audit, that voter file. If you, as I appreciate it, if you co-signed with your son or daughter when they bought a condo in Nashville and your name's on their mortgage, then it could be a flag that, hey, we got a new address for this voter. We need to confirm where do they live. Well, if the Secretary of State sent you the letter that said, we have flagged your voter file in the Motor Voter Act audit, and you did not respond affirmatively back within the 90 days, then the system just automatically moved you to inactive until you reactivate. And I think that caught a lot of people off guard who knew they had not moved and they had voted in every election leading up to the runoff, but suddenly found themselves inactive. Well, it was probably because they got a letter, they don't remember it, but they got a letter from the Secretary of State sometime in the spring that said, we need you to re-identify your voter registration, and they just assumed, oh, it must be garbage, and they threw it away. And when they did, the system automatically moved them. So we're going to try to avoid as much of that as we can, but I want that to be in the public, and I want us to have a common discussion about it and make sure everyone's aware of it as best we can. The second thing, and I will let you get to your business, is we already have a good number of our county employees who routinely take their day off and serve as poll workers. And I'm looking at you, Matthew Barclay. He is one. And they don't just serve as inspectors at polls. They serve as just frontline workers. They just like doing it, like being in their community to do that. What I would like for us to do, with your assistance, is I would like to recruit at least enough county employees from all of our sister partner agencies to have at least one county employee in each of our 78 precincts. And we have started a little program we're called Powering the Polls. And we've got some handouts here that we're going to be ready to share with a little QR code, very fancy, very technological. We want to encourage, if we can, our public employees to take a day off and work the polls. And I know that's not going to be something every one of them can do or would do, but if we could get a group of 78, available, many will work in their home precinct to the best we can, but we would have them available if we could ask them to go work in various precincts around the county so that we would have one county employee in each precinct on election day. I think it would do a lot to encourage our workers in those polls. It would be a little bit of a comfort level, I think. Even if that employee is just working as a registration clerk, just knowing they work for the county is probably going to encourage the people they're working with in that poll if something kind of starts to come off the rail a little bit, and have somebody that has some county background to say, hey, let's stay calm here. Let's get the right people involved and we can make this thing okay. I would like to encourage Commissioner Hasty, Commissioner Matranga. I've gotten some feedback from them that there might be some interest in encouraging that among their employees. Mr. Bourne at the Personnel Department has indicated he's got a willingness to encourage employees there to do that. I'm not asking for anyone to get any special treatment pay-wise. This would be purely voluntary and purely, just sort of out of the sense of civic duty. And we would just like to recruit as many as we could get. and let's see where we go. And if I get 78 or 80 of them, we're going to deposit them in different places all over the county. And I feel like it would be a benefit to our polls and to our process. And so I'm here to encourage that and answer any questions that anybody may have about how that could work.
Would they be paid on a regular schedule,
What
just
we're-
like the other
Other
workers?
poll workers, what we're just asking them to do is take their regular leave, whatever they have available, through whatever process of approval for leave that they would need to go through with their supervisor, but take a day of leave and then just paid whatever the rate is for the regular poll workers for that day for the position that they're working in. You
Okay.
know. So that would be our thought. You know, we've talked about this in the past, and there's been a lot of discussion about, you know, splitting shifts and getting people kind of paid beyond their county pay, but the reality is, there's not gonna be a way to work that. What I'm asking for people to do is if they've got some time they can use, instead of taking off and going fishing that day, you know, take off and work in the poll. We're gonna pay you for the day, you know, what your poll worker gets, but you're also gonna do a huge service for the county. So, that's my pitch. Thank you all very much.
Judge, other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When does your TikTok stuff start?
My TikTok, is that right? I don't know, but it's gonna be really, hyper jump cuts and a lot of like fast action when you come, so get ready. Lots of dancing on it too, I'm sure. No, it's not.
When are you planning to kick it off?
Well, we're working with Ms. Broussard on a media plan that, you know, is gonna launch, I guess, within the next 3-4 weeks, the best we can, and it's kind of a multifaceted, it's gonna be the multimedia, it's gonna be the, normal, you know, regular media outlets and all of our social platforms that we have over the county. And we're trying to tie our social platforms in with the county social platform, so we're trying to get double exposure for the messages we send out. She's helping us with that very much. And let me just say this real quick too, before I forget, that I want to thank our county team members who help us in elections, starting with Eddie and his crew in administration, Anusha and all the folks in IT, and our GIS situation is so much better now, and I want to thank the county for that. And things are in a good place. It's just going to take a lot of diligence to keep it there. And so, but I want to thank the county for the support for elections, because we could not do it without all our team members over here.
And Judge, I just want to thank you for your thoughtfulness in all of this and being sensitive to how difficult that situation was during the city elections, and then moving like you are to try to make sure we don't have a repeat of it. A lot of people's confidence was really shaken.
Well, clearly, by the time I got 7:30 in the morning and I've already got 4 or 5 phone messages from different people, I knew we had a problem. And I knew that no matter how much I deflected that it was not a county problem, that's a city problem, I knew eventually I was going to own it. And there was no way to get around that. And so I just decided we had to take control and find out as much information as we could and share that as quickly as we could. And you know, try to, as you said, ease the tension and the anxiety people were having, because it is frustrating. And I could feel that frustration. I could understand it. And we don't want to have a repeat of that if we can avoid it.
Thank you.
Are you gonna stay for the whole meeting? I know you got a lot to do. If you're not, I'll call you later, but if you can, I need to ask you about something else. If you're staying for the meeting, if not, I'll call you.
I'll hang around.
Okay.
I'll hang around.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Do we have any other speakers?
No more speakers, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Kirk?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Item 1, approve a list of claims. 2, adopt resolution authorizing relocation of the polling site for the precinct as follows. 3, approve sponsorship agreement with Mobile Police Department Mounted Auxiliary in the amount of $500 for its 34th annual Mardi Gras Mounted Police School. 4, award bid to Rogers and Willard for Michael Square License Commission restroom renovations for a total bid in the amount of $293,948. 5, approve to provide signs for the Grand Bay Volunteer Fire District in the amount of $750 from District 3 Commission funds. 6, approve appropriation contract with the Board of School Commissioners of Mobile County in the amount of $8,550 from District 1 Education funds to cover the cost of stage curtains for Calcasieu Elementary School. 7, approve appropriation contract with Allentown Elementary School, Children First Parent-Teacher Organization in the amount of $15,000 from District 2 Education funds to assist with the cost of playground equipment. 8, approve appropriation contract with McDavid Jones Elementary School Booster Club in the amount of $15,000 from District 2 Education funds for technology equipment. 9, approve amending annual appropriation contract with Mobile Museum of Art to provide additional funds in the amount of $20,000 from District 1 Education funds for educational programs. 10, approve appropriation contract with Tanner Williams Elementary School Parent-Teacher Organization in the amount of $14,800 from District 2 Education funds to assist with the cost of technology equipment. 11, approve appropriation contract with Dauphin Island Heritage and Arts Council in the amount of $8,500 from District 3 Education funds for the Dauphin Island Native American Experience to be held on March 28th. 12, approve appropriation contract with Mobile Area Mardi Gras Association in the amount of $15,000 from District 1 Education funds for the 2026 Mardi Gras season, subject to documentation and legal review. 13, approve appropriation contract with TAPS Drill in the total amount of $2,500 for operational expenses with funds divided as follows. 14, approve sponsorship agreement with Sims Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $500 from District 2 Education funds for the Sims Azalea Festival to be held on March 22nd. 15, approve appropriation contract with Penelope House in the amount of $5,000 from District 3 Education funds to assist with operational expenses for the Mobile Chocolate Festival to be held on March 7th. 16, approve pre-development services and reimbursement agreement with Ace Theater and Porchlight for the parcel of property located at 507 Congress Street in Mobile. 17, approve waiving special event fees for the 8th Annual Southside Doubles Disc Golf Tournament hosted by the Mobile Area Disc Golf Association at West Mobile County Park on February 14th with no cost to the county. 18, approve assigning PH&J Architects for permanent generators for critical facilities program for Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant, providing professional evaluation, design, and administrative services. 19, approve group sales agreement with Renaissance Mobile Riverview Plaza Hotel for expenses for the Mobile County election training sessions in the amount of $6,000 plus parking expenses for attendees from April 26th through May 1st, pending legal review. 20, adopt resolution fixing a financial charge or tax to be paid by owners of forest lands located in Mobile County for the use of the land for timber growing purposes. 21, approve contract rental agreement with the Order of Inca in the total amount of $2,700 for the use of the Grand Hall as a voting place for elections in Mobile County for May 19th, June 16th, and November 3rd, 2026, pending legal review. 22, approve.
Eddie, is that total of 2,700 or 2,700 per date? Or do you know?
I do not know, but we can get that answer.
It's got to be the total. Total.
22, approve event space rental agreement with the ABBA Shrine Center and the total amount of $6,300 for the use of its facility as a voting place for elections in Mobile County on May 19th, June 16th, and November 3rd, pending legal review. '23, approve facility usage agreement and an unaffiliated organization agreement with the Parish of St. Pius Catholic Church for the use of its family center as a voting place for elections in Mobile County on May 19th, June 16th, and November 3rd at no cost to the county, pending legal review.
Is there a reason we only have these three? Or four?
Good morning. Those are the ones that have been received by the legal department so far. As the others are received, we'll have them on the agenda.
So everyone has one? I mean, all of our polling places do?
Yeah,
We
yes,
just-
ma'am.
Just waiting on them to come back? Okay. Thank you.
'24, approve master services contract with Moffett and Nickel to provide planning and design services for the Mobile County Park Initiative and contract amendment number 1 for project Cedar Point Boat Ramp for bidding and construction administration services. The cost associated with this amendment is to be paid with the state GOMESA grant. 25, approve contract with Elections System and Software to provide services for the upcoming 2026 election cycle, pending legal review. 26, approve contract amendment number 1 to the Professional Environmental Services Master Contract with Thompson Engineering for Phase 2 Cultural Resource Testing. 27, consider taking the following action on bids. 28, approve renewal of subscription agreement with Oil Price Information Services in the amount of $5,560.80 for Opus Oil Express newsletter and Opus newsletter for the County Commission. 29, approve estimated cost of appointed elections officials for the Alabama statewide primary election on May 19th as follows. 30, approve estimated cost of appointed election officials for the June 16th Alabama primary runoff election as follows. 31, approve estimated cost of mandatory poll worker training sessions at the Riverview Plaza Hotel from April 22nd through May 1st as follows. 32, approve estimated cost of mileage and cell phone expenses for appointed election officials for the May 19th Alabama statewide primary election as follows. 33, approve estimated cost of mileage and cell phone expenses for the June 16th runoff election as follows. 34, approve estimated cost of appointed absentee election officials for the May 19th, 2026 Alabama statewide primary election as follows. 35, approve estimated cost of appointed absentee election officials for the June 16th runoff election as follows. 36, approve estimated cost to deploy up to 100 election technology support specialists to support the May 19th Alabama statewide primary election in the amount of $54,930. 37, approve estimated cost to deploy up to 100 election technology support specialists to support the June 16th Alabama statewide runoff election in the amount of $54,930. 38, approve subscription agreement with Rumble Up all-in-one texting solution to communicate voter registration reminders and election-related information to voters of Mobile County for a one-time registration fee in the amount of $114.50 and up to $39 per month. 39, approve reappointments and appointments to serve on the board of the Mobile County Communications District for 4 years with terms expiring on November 12th for persons as follows. And Commissioners, we have one add-on and one potential add-on discussed this morning. We're going to ask that number one add-on be voted at conference. Adopt resolution revising the Mobile County Commission conference and meeting schedule for 2024 through 28 as follows: to cancel the conference on Thursday, February 19th, and cancel the meeting on Monday, February 23rd, and hold a combined conference and meeting on Wednesday, February 25th.
So moved.
I'm assuming at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Second.
And finally, there is a possibility we may have an add-on for Monday's meeting related to an amendment to the agreement with Helios Alliance related to providing some management services to the initiatives funded by the opioid settlement funds. And that is all.
Is it you, Mr. Barclay?
Yes, ma'am. You have the unfortunate pleasure of my dulcet tones this morning.
They had to dig deep
Dig very deep.
and low, that's right.
On Monday, we would ask you consider taking the following actions on the following agenda items. Number one, approve a reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities on public right-of-way with Alabama Power Company for project MCR 2022-208 Mason Ferry Road, with the cost to the county estimated in the amount of $13,327. Item number two, approve a proposed and final plat of the following subdivisions: Michael Moses subdivision and Archie's Place subdivision. Number three, approve the proposed plat only of the following subdivision: Belmont Estates subdivision in District 3, 25 lots. Item number four, approve the proposed plat only of Laurel Oaks Phase 2 in District 3, 49 lots. This is a private road subdivision, and the county will not be asked to take the roads over for maintenance.
Yeah, lots going on there.
Yeah, and there's a couple more. I'll just go ahead and give my little spiel that I always give about these private road subdivisions. I still do not like them. I still think that we should, I say this every time there's one on here, and eventually I hope somebody hears me, but I think we should, and I know Kim's not here, but you can convey my message, Matthew. I still think we should really consider looking at our subdivisions, and I know that Tim's here. I say this every time, but I just think we should stop allowing private road subdivisions, but carry on. I know that there's like two or three of my, at least two on here today that are private road subdivisions that we're looking at, so. But there you go. Every time there's one, I say it, and I'm gonna continue to say it until we do something to fix it.
Yes, sir. Number five, approve the right-of-way and/or easement agreement for Tract 1 on Windsor Road West in the amount of $20,000 for project MCR 2022-007 Windsor Road West. Number six, approve the right-of-way and/or easement agreement for Tract 3 on Chastang Bluff Road in the amount of $21,140 for project MCR 2020-109. Number 7, authorize the acquisition of property and the acceptance of right-of-way deeds or easements from the following property owners for the following projects. Number 8, approve the functional reclassification of the following road as listed below. Duke Road becoming a residential functional classification. Number 9, approve the final plat of Sandy Creek Phase 2, 45 lots in District 3, and authorizing the county engineer to sign the plat and to update the following street in the private road inventory. Number 10, approve an amendment to the release and servitude for the easement for stormwater runoff and drainage on South Boulevard, Site N, and authorize the commission president to execute necessary documents. Number 11, to award the bid to Southern Land Development, LLC for project MCP 00125 Celeste Road drainage improvements for their low bid in the amount of $216,809.96. Number 12, award the bid to HCL Contracting, LLC for project MCR 2018-110 Andrea Road, Henry Andrew Road, Frank Taylor Road, and Cedar Creek Baptist Church Road for their low bid in the amount of $580,943.72. And finally, number 13, to authorize advertising and receiving bids for project MCR 2018-004, MCR 2022-009, and Rebuild Alabama RA 490424 for Weaver Road East.
Yay.
Yes, ma'am. Exciting.
So, Mr. Ross? You don't have to say anything.
I
was
know,
just
Joe.
gonna come, But I just wanted to
No,
get
he's
that.
always got something to
I
say.
just wanted to ask the commission if you would consider a short executive session on Monday to talk about one matter of economic development and another matter about or litigation. The Mobile Chamber would like to come address the commission on something. Maybe it'd take 30 minutes at the most.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you, Commissioner.
Anything else? You have announcements? Okay.
First, we had our second cold weather sheltering event of the year. This one was an extreme cold weather sheltering event from January 25th to February 1st. Over 8 nights, there were almost 2,200 people sheltered, 6,270 meals served, 9 different facilities opened, and almost 2,000 hours donated. And what's not on the graphic is between Mobile County Animal Shelter and the City of Mobile Animal Services, we were also able to shelter 73 pets. So it was mostly dogs and 1 cat. But we're getting better each time we do this, and the list of agencies that are supporting is growing. And one thing, we need to be super proud of this because we can't find another community who's doing what we're doing the way we're doing it. And so thank EMA and thank all the partners for this. Next, this year's theme for Black History Month is a century of Black history commemoration. So it's literally been 100 years that this has happened in the United States. And as part of it, Mobile County Public Affairs is sharing some spotlights of prominent Black individuals on some of our social media pages, just to educate about some of our Black history in Mobile County particularly. Next, February is American Heart Month, so this is a time to focus on prevention, awareness, and life-saving actions like learning CPR training. And tomorrow is Go Red Day, so you're asked to wear red in support of women's heart disease education and understanding. And so wear some red tomorrow, everybody. And also consider, taking the time to prioritize heart health and learn CPR. On February 11th, this is National 211 Day, and 211 is it's the information referral line for our area, well, nationwide actually. And it's a day to spread the word about what this service does and how it can help. So really, we've got 3 numbers to call. You've got 911 for emergencies, 988 for mental health, and 211 for everything else. Fifth, as a reminder, Mobile County offices are going to be closed Monday, February 16th, and Tuesday, February 17th for the Mardi Gras holiday. Mobile County parks will remain open. Next, the weekend after Mardi Gras this year, and it's always hard when it's the weekend after Mardi Gras because people are not ready to make the shift, but it's Severe Weather Preparedness Sales Tax Holiday. So it begins Friday at 12:01 a.m., Friday, February 20th, and it ends Sunday, February 22nd at 11:59 p.m. And this is an important time to stock up on your preparedness materials, including generators. You can get a generator up to $1,000 tax-free. So, and this is no state, no county, and no municipal taxes. And also, we'd like to remind y'all that if you're looking for fun things to do, especially once we get past the Mardi Gras season, Mobile County Community Calendar has a lot of information on there. And one of our goals is to highlight the geographic and cultural diversity of the county. So the events on there are all over the county, all different types of events. And so make sure y'all check that out. And then finally, I'd like to remind y'all to connect to Mobile County on all our social media because we do a lot to keep people updated on the services as well as other things. So,
Question,
Mhm.
the 211 system, is that, when someone calls in, what sort of issues do they handle and who is responsible? I mean,
everything they handle anything. It used to be like Contact Mobile helpline years ago, like in the 90s. But
who's responsible? Who's on the other end?
Oh,
when you call?
Lifelines. Lifelines Counseling
okay.
Services. It's a United Way 211, but Lifelines Counseling Services are the local people who answer the phone and take care of whoever calls. And they even have translators available so they can connect, because it's part of a nationwide network. They can connect people who may not speak English as well. So, but they take care of so much of if someone just they don't know what to do, they're stuck, they can't figure things out, like, about to get their power cut off or things like that, just different things that need help finding anything. The 211 is the one to call. And when we have these cold weather sheltering events, 211 is the primary number we get people to call, so then they can be directed to where the shelters are. So it works very well, and I would encourage people to avail themselves of its services.
Thank you.
Did I forget anything, commissioners, that you'd like to announce?
I want to add to the cold weather sheltering for the animals is Tina and the staff at the animal shelter who man those things overnight really make that happen. They may be sleeping in a horse trailer with how many dogs? 70 dogs and 1 cat. So I want to thank them, and Tina, you make sure that they know that we really appreciate all that they do at the animal shelter. But that's really above and beyond to go out and make sure that when people have to go to a shelter because of weather, a lot of times, and lots of communities other than ours apparently, you have to leave your pets at home, and as most people know, your pets are kind of part of your family. So maybe this will catch on nationwide, and we'll be the first ones who have done it. So, but thank you guys.
It really helps for those people who are unhoused as well, because they have pets and they're not gonna go in without them and
That's true.
put themselves in jeopardy because of pets.
Very good.
So it is great. Thank you too. Ricky, you look like you want to. Okay. If nothing else, we stand adjourned.